Still coughing a little bit, but I think I'm doing a little bit better. I think my voice sounds a little bit better. Got my coffee. I'm not gonna lie, this is the second time that I filmed this video, so you can imagine my excitement to film it again. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. The other day I did a poll on my Snapchat and I asked you guys to vote on 1 or 2 videos that you wanted to see. The first video was a review for the new Milk Makeup concealer and foundation, and the second video was a makeup do's and don'ts video where I show you guys some tips and techniques. Some tips and techniques for how you should do your makeup and some common mistakes that I see about how you probably shouldn't do your makeup. An overwhelming amount of you guys voted for the makeup do's and don'ts video, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I haven't done a video like this on my channel, so I was super excited to do it. I just truly enjoy makeup and beauty trends, and I'm constantly always learning myself, so I don't want anyone to take any of the tips that I give in this video too personal. Like if I do something on the don't face, but you like doing your makeup that way, then don't listen to me. Like continue doing your makeup that way. It's your face, girl. Like who am I? Don't listen to me. I'm not, like, honestly, do whatever makes you feel the best about you. I do, however, get a lot of requests from people or comments saying that they tried a certain thing or they tried to do something or a look that I did and it didn't come out the way they wanted to. So I'm going to try and address some common mistakes that I see online or with people in general that maybe don't make their makeup look as flattering as they want it to look. I also do want to address in my last video, the title of my last video. Some people were really upset about that title, and honestly, I just chucked it up to the fact that you guys just don't know me well enough, because I literally say trash in I say that every single day of my life to everyone. And I'm not for any reason trying to promote self-deprecation or self-hate at all. That's not what I want people to come to my channel for at all. It was just a funny title. Like, it wasn't meant to be taken seriously at all. I personally believe that everyone on the internet just needs like a shot, or not a shot. Don't drink, kids. If you're under the age of 21, please don't drink. Please do not tell your mom that I told you to take a shot. I just personally believe that a lot of times people are a little bit too sensitive on the internet. Like, there are other things that we can be more upset about than the title of a makeup video. So that's all I have to say. I don't promote self-hate, I promote self-love. I believe you should laugh at yourself, and that's what I was doing in the title of that video. I mean, come on, did you guys see the thumbnail? Like, it's hilarious. Laugh. Please laugh. It's funny. All right, so that's enough rambling. If you want to, oh man, I'm thirsty. I should drink my water actually. Alright guys, so if you want to get into my makeup do's and don'ts video, then just keep on watching. Alright, I'm gonna start just by zooming you guys in a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. Are my baby hairs too much today? Too much? A little bit? Alright, so I'm starting with nothing on my face. This is the second time that I filmed this video. The first time I filmed it, I wanted to film it in natural sunlight, but I waited too late. Like, I waited until like 4 or 5 to film it, and then the sun started setting, so the second part of the video was really dark. So take 2. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a primer. So I really like priming my makeup. Well, honestly, it's because I'm lazy and I really just wanna do the bare minimum to make my makeup last throughout the day. I'm not one of those people who takes their makeup with them throughout the day and like touches up. I'm not. If it gets bad, then it just gets bad. But I try to do everything when I'm doing my makeup to prevent that from happening. And one thing that I found that really helps with that is primer. So since I'm oily, I like to take a mattifying primer and apply that on my face before applying any makeup. The one I'm using today is from Becca. It's the Becca Evermatte Poreless Primer. This is going to be my good side today. I'm just gonna apply this to 1/2 of my face. You also want a primer because it does like create an extra layer of protection from your makeup. If you're not oily though, I wouldn't recommend a mattifying primer because it's going to dry you out. But there's tons of primers. There's brightening primers, there's hydrating primers, there's wrinkle filling primers, there's a ton of primers. I like using mattifying ones because I'm an oily gal. You can see that primer, it does almost like start to blur your skin. Mattifying primers do have the tendency to turn white though, because that's how they mattify your skin before applying the makeup. It's my favorite. Okay, and then obviously we're going to leave this side with no primer at all. Next, we're gonna do brows. I'm going to start by taking the 24-hour brow setter and apply that on my good side. I really like using a brow gel for my brows because it does, again, it helps your makeup last longer. So if you apply this before you apply any brow product, or if you already have really thick brows and you don't need like to fill them in any way, just grooming them with a brow gel will just help them look nice and presentable. Oh man, I was about to put it on my other eye. No. So for this brow, I'm not going to apply anything. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill them in. A common mistake that I see a lot of people doing is using a brow product that's way too dark for them. I actually used to do this. I used to use like a black, it was pretty much black. It was so dark brown that it almost looked black on my actual eyebrows, and that just looks unnatural and crazy. Your eyebrows are never really that dark. I just thought that since my hair was dark, my hair is black, I have a darker complexion, that I could use a black pencil, but that's not the case at all. So to fill in the don't side, I'm gonna take this. This is the Stay with Slate. This is actually an eyeliner from Milani, and I'm gonna use that to fill in my brows over here. See, it's really dark. Oh, I also want to say that any of the products that I'm using on the don't side aren't a representation of how I feel about the products at all. Like, I personally love this eyeliner because it stays on all day. I just needed something that was dark enough to show you guys what I mean. But this does not mean I don't like this product at all, because I do. And then I see people putting product like really far in the front of your brow, but you don't really need it there. Or maybe you do if you don't have hair there, but if you're using a product that's way darker than it needs to be, it's just gonna make your eyebrow look really like blocky and unnatural. So that's my brow. That's really dark. On my good side, I'm gonna take Precisely My Brow, also from Benefit, and I'm just gonna use this to fill in where my hairs are kind of sparse. I don't really do my brows super thick normally. I mean, sometimes I will fill them in a little bit thicker, but for the most part, I just kind of like to shape them the way that they naturally grow. And I really like this brow product because it's more of an ashy brown, so it looks more natural. Like, it just more closely mimics the hairs on my actual brow. And if you notice, I'm not bringing this product too far up. Like, I'm kind of just keeping it towards the back, just drawing lines upward. It just mimics hairs, like mimics your actual hair. You guys tell the difference? This looks like I used a Sharpie marker, and this looks nice. Nice and natural. To clean up my brows, I've been using MAC Pro Longwear Concealer for years. So this concealer, I would say, is like a shade and a half lighter than me. You don't want something that's going to be too light because then it comes off really harsh looking. So I just like applying this concealer right under my brow. This also works really well like if you haven't gotten your brows done in a long time. I love using concealer to clean up my brows because oftentimes there's hair there that shouldn't be there. It's important to blend it downward into your eye socket so that it looks more like a gradient, doesn't look as harsh. I'll go in with my finger and just kind of wipe that product away. I honestly waste a lot of this concealer because you don't need much of it at all, but I'll put this much on my hand and then have to like find somewhere else on my face to put it because I don't want to waste it, because you don't need much to clean up your brows at all. And then on the top, I just like to go over the arch. I like my brows to look a little bit more sharp towards the end, so I'll just go towards the back with literally the littlest bit. So on the don't side, I'm going to use the same concealer, but I've been seeing people using way more concealer than they need, or even like too light. I'm just gonna use the same one, and I see people like bringing it all the way over here and just kind of dragging it through the brow and then bringing that down, and it's not as blended either. And I'm guilty of this. I used to do this. I used to use way too much to clean up my brows because I thought that's what you needed, and I didn't do a good job of like blending it out either, so it looks like this. I'm also seeing them put it over the top. I personally don't feel like this is that necessary. You guys, I have a really hard time with like doing things like this. Like, it just makes me cringe. The artist in me just wants to immediately fix it, but I'm gonna show you guys. I'm doing this for you. I'm literally torturing myself right now. You. All right, next we're going to move into foundation. So foundation for my do side, I'm going to take the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet foundation. So I'm applying this really towards the center of my face. I never take my foundation way out here. I just kind of blend it out that way. And this just works better for not creating a mask, because honestly, it doesn't matter like how good color your foundation is, it's never gonna match your neck. So you don't want to take the product too far down your face. Either you're gonna have to drag it all the way down to your collarbone, or you can just blend it out so it has more of a gradient into your neck rather than like a harsh color. And then I'm just gonna go in with a beauty blender and blend that color in. When I get to the perimeter of my face, I am just going to lightly tap that product, like just any excess that's on the beauty blender, and just apply that to the perimeter. You can see it just looks more natural now than if I were to put foundation all the way down here. For the don't side, I'm gonna take a foundation that's a little bit too light for me. I do see this still happening a lot, I'm using foundations that are just a little bit lighter. I don't think people are doing it purposely. I think it just comes from a lack of knowledge of knowing how to find your perfect foundation shade. But you want something that's just going to complement the skin, like the color that your face is. If you find something that, like if you want to use something that's darker so it matches like the rest of your body, you can do that. But I think it's easier just to bronze and blend products so that it matches the rest of your body rather than applying a foundation that looks more like your body. So I'm going to take this foundation. This is from Estee Lauder. This is the Double Double Wear Water Fresh foundation. I actually just got this foundation and I don't have like a negative or positive opinion on it yet because I haven't tried it much, but it was the only foundation that I had that was too light for me. So I'm just going to apply that all over my face, and again, taking it down my neckline, which is what you don't need to do. And then I'm gonna go in with a different beauty blender and blend that color in. Applying that foundation, you can see it just looks, I feel like I look like I'm sick. If you wear a foundation that's a little too light for you, it automatically makes you look like more pale and scary. I honestly kind of feel like using a foundation that's a little bit darker is better than using one that's lighter, for sure, because you can always lighten that up. Anything that I do to this is always going to look too light in certain areas. For concealer, I'm going to be using the ColourPop No Filter concealer. This one is in the color Tan 50. It's a little light, but I've still been using it because I really like the way that it blends out. And then this one is entirely too light. This one is Golden 40. So I'm going to start with Tan 50 and just apply that underneath my eyes. A big do is, especially because I have a round face, I really like to focus the concealer just in the areas that I want to make look more prominent. So I don't want to take the concealer all the way over here because it's just going to make my face look wider. I'm just going to focus it right in this area. Oh no, my camera's dying. Ah! And then I'll put a little bit on my nose area. And that's really all the concealer I like to use. So then I'm going back in with my beauty blender and I'm just going to apply this color and make sure that it stays pretty centered to the middle of my face. I don't want to blend it out too far. On the don't side of my face, I'm going to take the same No Filter concealer, just in a little bit of a lighter shade, which is, you don't want your concealer to be too light at all because it really will show in any pictures or in any sunlight, or sometimes even like in fluorescent light. That's the scariest. You don't want your concealer to be too light at all. And then a common mistake that I see people doing a lot is taking that concealer all the way over here. If you have more of a narrow face, it might work well for you, but if you have a wider face, you don't need your concealer to go all the way over here. And then bringing it down too far. This I blame Instagram for, because there were so many Instagram tutorials that told you to bring your concealer all the way down here. And I used to do this too. I was guilty of this as well. But it's not always necessary. So I'm taking this concealer all the way down here. It makes it a lot harder to blend into your foundation as well when your concealer is too far down. And I put a lot of it. Like, this is a lot. I'm honestly scared to blend this out, you guys. Just go back in with my beauty blender. Oh, this looks so scary. So as you can see, after blending that concealer, this part of my face now looks like it all stands out, whereas on this side, it's only this area of my face that stands out, and that's what I want. Okay, next we're going to contour. For the don't side, I used to do this. I used to use a contour shade that's a little bit too dark, and I still will use a contour shade that's darker if I am darker, but it's important to also know the contour shade that works best for you. So just like you don't want too light of a concealer, you don't want too dark of a contour. So for the don't side, I'm gonna take my Bobbi Brown foundation stick. This is in the color Espresso. I'm gonna take this contour stick and I'm gonna drag it all the way over here, which I see a lot of people doing. You do not need this much contour, because what's gonna happen is when you blend it out, it's just gonna get everywhere. Applying that on my neck as well. This is a lot of contour. No one needs this much contour. I don't care who you are, no one needs this much contour. So for my do side, I'm gonna take my Hourglass foundation stick. This is in the color Chestnut, and I like this color because it's more of a warm reddish tone. I feel like it just looks a little bit better on me right now. It just makes me look more like alive and like glowy. So I'm gonna take this contour stick and I'm just going to apply it right where the top of my ear starts, and I'm gonna stop where my eye starts. So just, that's literally all I do. You don't need much of this, because once you blend it out, it's going to blend into more areas. A little bit on my forehead. I'm gonna apply a little bit of this on my chin and down the bridge of my nose as well. Okay, so to blend that out, I'm just gonna take a foundation stick and I'm just going to, in circular motions, just push this product towards the edge of my face. It's naturally just going to come forward either way when you're blending it in, but you want it to just push towards the rest of your face. And you also want to move it upward, because this is going to lift your face, whereas moving it downward is going to elongate your face, I guess. You want your cheekbones to look higher. For my jaw, I'm just going to blend this downward because I want to create a shadow here that's going to make your jaw look more defined. And push this product here up into the baby hairs. And then for my nose contour, I want to make sure this is really blended out. I don't want it to look obvious or too obvious. I'm gonna just go back in with a beauty blender with the leftover concealer, and I'm just going to blend the lines between the concealer and the contour so it looks more natural. I honestly hate using the word natural when I'm doing makeup, because no part of this and none of this is natural. Not a single part of it. But we do want to fool people into believing that we're just naturally this beautiful, and we are on the inside. Okay, so for the don't side, I'm honestly terrified to blend this out again. I'm gonna go in with a beauty blender to blend out this side. I'm gonna just start by dabbing this product in because I put it too far upward. You guys see what's like. I feel like I don't even need to talk through what's happening right now because it's apparent how terrifying this looks. Maybe I will go in with a brush and try and just like do circular motions with this. And then for my nose contour, I'm just going to just kind of half-ass blend this out. I do see this sometimes where you can literally just like see the line that they drew on their nose. Okay, so next we're going to bake. I'm gonna take my Sacha Buttercup powder to bake on both sides. Sometimes I like to leave the powder on a little bit longer, but most times I just like to immediately wipe it off for the do side. And that's only because it doesn't need to sit on your face that long. The longer it sits, it actually kind of like seeps into your pores and you can start seeing like where you put your foundation and concealer. So I just like to take a little bit of this and just tap it underneath in the areas that I don't want to crease. So underneath my eyes, put a little bit around my mouth as well. This also helps with mattifying. And I'll leave this on for like maybe 3 minutes, like not long at all. On the don't side, I see people using way too much powder. I'm tapping that in pretty heavily and also applying it like underneath your contour as if like this needs to be more like apparent. So for my do side, I'm gonna go in and just wipe that off. For my don't side, I'm gonna leave it on a little bit longer and move into the eyes. Okay, so for my eyes, I'm gonna take Painterly Paint Pot. I cannot talk today. I'm gonna take Painterly Paint Pot by MAC, and I'm gonna use this on both sides. So starting with the do side, I'm gonna take that primer and I'm just going to apply it on my mobile lid. You really only need like the brighter eyeshadows on your lid to stand out. I'm just applying that on my mobile lid and blending it out with my finger. A common mistake that I see people do, and I used to do this as well, is applying this primer everywhere. Just applying it all the way up into your eye. It is not necessary. Oh man, I used to go through Painterly Paint Pots because I would use so much of it all the time. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm gonna get closer. This powder's still just been sitting on my face and you can see it just starts to seep down into your pores and make that more evident. So that's a big part of the reason why you don't want to leave it on for too long because it does sit in there. Okay, so moving into eyeshadow, I'm gonna start with a transition color. Transition colors are so important for blending eyeshadow. Like a big part of the reason why people have a hard time blending their eyeshadows and making it look really nice and flawless is because they don't have like a transition color. When I worked at MAC, this is what we called a best friend color. One of my favorite best friend colors, as you can tell because it's pretty much gone, is Texture from MAC, which looks like this. So I'm gonna just start with this color and I'm gonna apply it pretty heavily into my crease. Just in this area right here. It makes a world of difference when applying your eyeshadows, guys, I promise, I promise. And then on this side, I'm going to skip the transition color, obviously. Next, I'm going to go in with black. So I'm just gonna do a little bit at first and just start on the very outer portion of my eye and in circular motions, just blend it upward into my crease. Now when you're doing this, it's better to use less and then build on it as opposed to just going in really heavily. Like we've all done that, right? Just apply too much at once and then had to sit there for 15 minutes and try and blend it out. Hand gets cramped, like it's just never good. To do this, I'm using a MAC, this is a MAC 217 blending brush. For the don't side, I'm gonna take that same black eyeshadow and the same brush. I'm just going to apply that in the same area. And as you can see already, it's already a lot harder to blend this color because we didn't apply the transition color on top of it. I'm blending it in the same area, doing the same motion, but it's just a lot harder to blend it. And because I don't have that transition color, it's just going from light to dark. For my good side, I'm gonna go in with the color Woodwinked, and I'm just gonna apply this with my finger. So I'm applying this with my finger just right on my mobile lid. Like I don't wanna take this too far up at all because with shimmery shades especially, once they blend into your crease, then they just kind of get everywhere. So you just wanna carefully just place this color right on your mobile lid. I'm gonna use the same color and I'm gonna apply that on this side as well. But on this side, I'm just gonna kind of like sloppily put it on. And as you can see, once it starts blending with the black, that's really, really hard to fix. So it's better just to be careful about where you're placing it rather than just throwing it on. You can also see it works a little bit better on this side because there's more of a gradient, whereas this side is just kind of light to dark. Then I'm just gonna go back in with that blending brush just to blend those colors together on this side. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, except it's just gonna be a little bit harder because now you can see it's a lot more messy than it is over here. It honestly doesn't look terrible, but this side just looks a lot cleaner. Okay, so moving into eyeliner. For this side, I'm just going to start by drawing the line very, very close to my lash line. It makes it a lot easier to see what you're doing when you're just kind of tracing your natural lash line. And then I'm gonna take that line upward right here. Just kind of stop there. I mean, you can make this as big as you want to, but for an everyday kind of look, I don't like to do too much eyeliner. And you just want to kind of connect it from where the outer portion of your eye starts up into your brow, and then just fill that in. And then on this side, I'm going to do what a lot of people commonly mistake is starting at the very, very tip of your eye and kind of drawing the line that way. This really will make it harder to get a straight line if you do long strokes on your eyelid. And then I'm gonna take this eyeliner, and instead of extending it upward, I'm gonna extend it outward this way, which is what I see a lot of people doing, and it doesn't make your eye look like flick upward. It kind of just looks like a straight black line on your eye, which it might work for some people depending on your eye shape. Eyeliner is very, very subjective, objective. It depends on the person, so it's not gonna be the same for everyone. I don't hate the way that this eyeliner looks, but I feel like this just looks a little bit more flattering for my eye. Next, I'm just gonna apply some mascara to both eyes. I don't really have tips about mascara, like do's and don'ts. I'm also not gonna do lashes because I feel like that really is just about like practice and persistence. Okay, moving back into the face. A common mistake that I see a lot of people doing is using a highlight that's a little bit too light for them. This also depends on what kind of look you're going for. I personally like more of a natural glowy type highlight rather than a really like bright and like thick defined one, but it really depends on what you like. So to highlight, I'm going to take, this is from JCat Beauty in Bora Bora. It's a highlighter I used to use a lot. And to highlight, I just like to place this right under my eye and kind of move it backward. So pretty. But this way you can't see the highlight from dead on, but you can see that it catches the light when you turn your head. That's what you want. You don't really want to see it from the front of your face. Oh no, my lighting's changing. Ah! On this side of my face, I'm going to take a highlighter that's entirely too light. This is the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. I still use this highlighter, but I use it just very, very like carefully. I'm just going to go all in, which is what I see a lot of people doing. And then instead of starting back here, I see people starting right where their cheek is and just kind of like drawing that line upward. That highlighter is really pretty, but in person this looks really scary, you guys. Next is blush. You don't want to pick a blush that's way too light for you. I've seen a lot of people do this, and I have done this as well. It just makes you look more ashy if you have a blush that's too light, like this whole side of my face. So for blush, I'm going to take this blush color from Makeup Forever. I do really like Makeup Forever blushes. This one just happens to be a little bit too light for me. And I see a lot of people just applying it right in the center of their face, which is what you don't want to do because then the most color is going to be here. My favorite blush to use is like a really mauvey dark pink one. I feel like that works a lot better with my skin tone. So I'm gonna take this one from Black Up Cosmetics. To apply blush, I just like to start kind of towards the back of my face, not in the front at all, and just kind of lightly push it into the apple of my cheek. You can smile too if that helps. Okay, so before the sun sets too much, we're gonna move into lips, and then we're pretty much done. For my good side, I like to do nude lips, but I have to use a lip liner. I just have to. Like, it doesn't look right unless I'm using a lip liner first. My favorite lip liner is Chestnut. If you guys follow me at all, then you know that this Chestnut's been my jam for a minute. Just helps the nude color blend a lot better. And then on my bad side, I'm not gonna do anything. So I'm gonna apply this color just straight up. This is from Bite Beauty. It's called Caramelize. I really like this formula a lot. I'm just gonna, on my good side, I'm just gonna apply it right in the center. Oh no. Oh, the sun! Thank goodness we're finished though. Okay, so now you can see this side is just way more flattering than this side. Oh my god, you guys, like it looks like two different people. Alright guys, before the sun sets too much, I cannot believe I did this again. This is literally the problem that I had the first time I filmed this video, and I let it happen again. But thankfully, we're at the end. The first time that I did it, I was like halfway through my makeup and then the sun started setting, which wasn't tight at all. So I'm sorry that the lighting changed. I hope you guys can find it in your hearts to forgive me. But that's it. These are the makeup do's and don'ts that I see pretty commonly, like the most common ones that I've seen. I can start doing more of these and just like diving more deeply into specific areas. All right, before it gets like dark, honestly, like the sun is just setting behind my window. Like it's still super light outside and it's so upsetting. And now it's just completely a different color than it was before. Alright you guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat and Instagram so the next time that I do a poll, you can vote for the video that you'd like to see. I will include links for everything down in the description box below, as well as the products that I used. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I look like a psychopath, but a cute psychopath. Like I look like I have two personalities. I really am not mad at this eyeliner though. Maybe this isn't a doe. Maybe this is a dude. And that's what I'm going to use underneath my eyes to brighten that area up. Okay, so this concealer isn't very brightening. Like at all, I feel like it's just, again, like a good mix of the other one to kind of even out my complexion, but it's not that bright. Like I feel like it looks a lot brighter than it's